Hello. Right, well, you guys all asked for it. You asked for another Black Powder game when given the options, so here we go. We are going to be playing another game of Black Powder. So this one, we decided to go for something a little bit more straightforward. This is just going to be a straight up pitch battle. So there's no buildings, there's no other objective other than to annihilate the enemy. There'll be 1 point for enemy units that are shaken after 6 turns and 2 points for enemy units that have left the table or have been destroyed. Now, to win the game, you need to beat the opponent by 2 clear points, and if you beat them by more than 6, that counts as a major victory. So we've got 3 brigades apiece. I'm with the French, Hayley has the British as usual. So we've already deployed, so I'll go through the forces, describe what we've got and show you the table. So if we start by having a look at the British, on the British right flank, so my left, there is a bit of a sort of mishmash kind of brigade, which includes the Scots Greys, the 95th Rifles, of course, and a rocket battery. Hayley, given the option of taking another cannon battery or the rockets, opted for the rockets because she likes the chaos and the carnage that they can ensue, even if that is on their own people. In the British centre, there is a brigade that consists of 4 British line battalions. We have the 32nd Cornwall Regiment, the 4th King Zone, we have the Highlanders here, the 42nd Highlanders, and we have the 69th South Lincolnshire Unit. They are commanded by this colonel here. Overall Army Command is Wellington's, who's in the centre. And then on the British left, we have a mass of Hanoverians because they always seem to do really, really well for Hayley, and they've brought along a cannon battery as well. So we have 4 units of Hanoverians, and there's their commander over there. On the French side, facing off, on the French right, we've got some cavalry, Marshal Ney commanding, and we have a unit of cuirassiers and a unit of chasseurs. And then in the centre, we have 4 French line battalions supported by artillery, and there's their colonel and Napoleon in the middle. Then slightly towards the French left, we have another cannon battery, Italians, and another French line battalion, Voltigeurs, and the Swiss. And you probably noticed that in the setting up, I formed a load of these already into French attack columns as well as lines. Hayley has opted to have all her men in line, hoping to bring that British shooting into play very quickly. And in terms of the battlefield, very, very simple setup. Slightly hilly terrain, obscuring line of sight, allowing models to gain height advantage. A single road that runs through the centre of the table, conferring the normal bonuses for movement if you're in a column. There is a single wood which obscures line of sight, but will also provide some cover for skirmishing units. And then on this side we have the field and the hedge. Those count as obstacles for the people who are wanting to move through it. So, as I said before, this game's going to go for 6 turns. And there will be the chance that we'll be rolling for variable turn length based on how the battle goes. So we shall see how it all goes, and we're going to roll off and see who goes first. So rolling off to see who goes first. The French with a 4, the British with a 1. I think I'm going to be taking the first turn. So, a surprisingly successful first turn.
Had to happen one day.
It did, it did. Well, should we start over here? So my original plan over here was to get these units up behind the wall because I've basically figured that we're going to be racing for that cover to basically attack the others. Didn't quite come off. The Swiss have moved, the Voltigeurs moved, and these two attack columns moved. I'm trying to use that wood as a little bit of cover from the rockets, so we'll see how well that goes. But over there, nothing disastrous happened. Actually, nothing disastrous happened down the entire line. Cannons have stayed where they are. In the centre, that brigade there has moved up, targeting the Hanoverians, and only one unit here didn't pass its order test. Cannons over here, still sighted, enough of a gap there to give fire. Now, I thought I might as well try and get the cavalry in early. Now, we play with cavalry having a 15-inch move, infantry have a 9-inch move, so I tried to launch an attack on Hayley's guns at the top of the hill. The chasseurs cheval failed, however the cuirassiers, they done it. They bloody done it. Straight up the hill, turn one, charged straight into the mouth of the Hanoverian guns.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Now, normally you do closing fire at that moment, but because we want to show you guys the dice rolls and the results of that, we'll do it now.
Sure that's really something you should be proud of just yet. You have just ran.
I'm just happy they moved. I don't care. I'm just happy they've gone. If they all die on that ridge line.
They might be gone soon. You've just ran at two huge
Right.
guns.
We will get the closing fire sorted out. So, for closing fire on the gun battery, Hayley's going to get 3 dice for the canister, and because it's closing fire, she gets to add 1 to the roll, so it's 3 dice hitting on 3s. Ooh, just the 1 hit. A cuirassier's save is normally 3, -2 for the cannons at close range, so 5 or more. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I think you've got the wrong dice
that
there.
is gonna be brutal. That could be very, very costly early on. Right, we will move into French shooting. Okay, so the main thing, well, the only things that are in range are the cannon batteries. So this cannon battery is beautifully sighted onto the Highlanders. So they're going to fire. Now they're over half range, so that means that I'm only firing with 1 dice, and I'm going to be hitting on a 4. So that's a lie. Because they're over half range, I'm hitting on a 5. So need a 5. A 6! I know, that's amazing. So not only do they take the hit, they're disordered as well. So Hayley was hit by artillery fire at long range, so that's a -1 modifier. The Highlanders have a save of 4, so Hayley needs a 5. No, we'll put that casualty. I have the perfect little Highlander casualty. There we go. Second shot of a cannon. This battery here is going to fire at the forefront Hanoverian unit there. So same as the other unit, I'll be hitting on a 5, and if I hit, Hayley will be saving on a 5. Oh, that's a miss. So that's the total of the French shooting. So now we're going to move into early onset combat up here. This could be a big win for the French up here, and I can end up, if I can cause, you know, a lot of issues down the flank, that would be fantastic. So, close combat. So, the heavy cavalry, the cuirassiers, get 9 dice in hand-to-hand combat, and they get +1 to hit because they charge. How many dice do you get?
1. But I'll take it.
1 dice. Do you want to roll yours first, or shall I roll?
We'll let you roll yours.
Roll these first. So, hitting on 3s. That's 5 hits. Hayley hitting on 4s. That's a hit. 1 save of 3 for the cuirassiers. That's a big save. 5 saves of 4. No. So you lost by 2. Because the cuirassiers are heavy cavalry, they get to add D3 to their result. So they're adding another 2 to their result. So this is why cavalry is so good against artillery when they get in. So I caused 2 casualties, and then for the heavy cavalry rule I rolled a 2, so my combat result is 4. Artillery cannot be supported by other units, so I've won the combat by 4. So Hayley is taking a break test. So Hayley, if you could roll 2d6 please. That's an 8. So if we look on the chart, 7 or more for artillery, but you'll see unit breaks and is deemed destroyed. Remove the entire unit from the field. So they're gone. Basically, if you cause an artillery unit to take a break test, they're gone. So very, very early first blood to the French. And because I destroyed that unit on the charge, I can make a sweeping advance into those Hanoverians. Okay, so the heavy cavalry have just turned and swept into the side of the Hanoverians. Now, when you do a sweeping advance with cavalry, the line battalions can't react. They can't do closing fire, they can't do anything other than hold their ground. Now, these guys have the must form square special rule, but I can't find a ruling on whether or not they can still form square. Given that they don't have the time to do closing fire because of the rapid action of the cavalry, I would take it that they don't have time to form square, which is what we've agreed to go with.
I would say so.
Yeah. So here we go. So we roll a second round of combat. The Cuirassiers in the flank of the 1st Hanoverian Line Battalion. So the Cuirassiers again get 9 dice. They charged and they're hitting on 3s. Oh, 4 misses. The Hanoverians get 6 dice fighting back, but because they're engaged to the flank, they're at -1. So it's 6 dice needing 5s to hit. Oh, a couple of hits. So 2 saves of 3 for the French. Oh, 1 casualty. 5 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. 3 saves. So, the combat results are the British cause 1 casualty, I cause 2. However, the French heavy cavalry get to add a D3 to their combat result on the turn they charge. So I get to add another 1. Let's have a look at the results up here. So the Hanoverians are supported to their rear for 1 point, and they're supported to their flank for 1 point. So they get to add 2. So they finish on 3 as well. So that was actually a draw. So neither of us are disordered, so neither of us need to take a test. The Cuirassiers have taken just 1 casualty. Hanoverians have taken 2, so neither of us are shaken. So that'll roll on into next turn. So that was a very, very successful turn. The cavalry have proved a success in the first turn.
For you.
For me, I know. There we go. So we will.
Something bad's happened in the universe somewhere.
Somewhere something's gone wrong. We better check the news. There's probably been like a typhoon or something somewhere. But we'll now roll on. British turn 1. Well, a slightly less successful turn of British move.
Preserving energy.
What, is that what they're all doing, is it?
Yep.
All of these units here that didn't move.
Preserving energy.
Okay, so over here, 95th Rifles, the horrible little green bastards, have moved up to the wall, presumably to just take on my Voltigeurs and just be generally annoying. And the Scots Greys did attempt to charge and like heroically leap over the wall, but they didn't. They just kind of come up here and they're posturing a bit up there on the top of the hill. Over here, 1 line battalion initially blundered, but the reroll was used, so they've moved up here. They'll be able to give fire. However, the next battalion didn't succeed, and because the reroll had already been used, couldn't move. Hayley wanted to expand the front here with the Hanoverians, moving them down the hill, but failed the roll there as well. So there are 7 battalions there that are just sitting on that ridge line. So we shall now go into the British shooting, and I believe you're going to have some rockets. Right, so where do you want to start?
Probably best this end.
Up here?
Yep.
All right, what, the 95th?
Yep.
Okay, so who are they going to fire at? I think they're going to, the skirmishers?
Yep.
Okay, so you get 2 dice for the 95th Rifles. You're normally hitting on 4s, but the skirmishers don't present a clear target, so you're -1, so you're hitting on 5s. But you have the sharpshooter ability, which means you get to re-roll 1 missed dice. So 2 dice hitting on 5s.
Oh, that's more like it.
Oh yeah, there we go. Had to change. I suppose at least there wasn't a disorder in there. 2 saves of 4 for the Voltigeurs. Oh, they're already shaken. So there we go. They are already shaken. I don't have to take a break test because I haven't exceeded my stamina limit of 2. 1 more casualty and I will, but they're not going anywhere for the moment. Right. So what do you want to do now?
We're gonna go for the rockets in the middle of these lovely French line infantry.
Okay, ooh, okay, all right. So the rocket has a range of 60 inches, which is that's well within range. I'm not even going to bother measuring that. So you just roll 1 dice, and you're looking for a 6. A 6 is a direct hit. Oh, which unit is? Well, it'd have to be this one because they're the closest.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just looking for a 6. Ooh, so now we get to roll on the fun table. Okay, so we're rolling on the rocket mishap table. Can you roll a d6, please? 6. Ooh, this could be interesting. The rocket veers out of control and lands some distance from its aiming point. Determine a random direction from the aiming point and then roll a d6 again. Okay, so a random direction. Okay, and now you just need to roll a d6 and we find out how far it goes. 6, so it's going to strike the first unit in the direction indicated, friend or foe, regardless of range. I have a horrible feeling, Hayley.
I'm just blowing my
You've just hit the Cornwall Regiment. I love rockets.
Brilliant.
So any unit hit by a rocket is automatically disordered, and now Hayley has to make a save, -2, so that's a save of 6. No, right. So what do you want to do now?
Cry.
I think that's what they're doing.
They've just been smacked in the face with a rocket.
Firework.
I'd be crying too.
They're actually they can shoot now if you want.
Yep, we're gonna shoot over to these guys.
Okay, so the 32nd Cornwall fire at the Line Battalion. So you get 3 dice to shoot. However, you have got first fire. So you get with 4 dice, and you're disordered. So it's 4 dice hitting on 5s. Oh, 2 6s, and that means a disorder. Okay, so 2 saves of 4. Yes, so they're just disordered. There is nothing else in range. Muskets have a range of 18 inches, and everything at the moment is just out. So we'll be going to carry on the close combat up the top of the hill. So Hanoverians are going to get 6 dice. Cuirassiers get 9. I won the last round of... No, it was a draw the last round of combat, wasn't it? So we're both going to be hitting on 4s. So 6 dice hitting on 5s, actually, for the Hanoverians, because they're fighting from the flank. 9 dice hitting on 4s for the Cuirassiers. Oh, that's not great. Oh, that is terrible. Terrible. Just 2 hits. 2 saves of 3 for the Cuirassiers. Yeah. 2 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. Okay, so I think that might have buggered me because so neither of us caused any casualties. I don't get the heavy cavalry bonus this turn because I didn't charge. However, Hayley is supported to the rear, and because these guys didn't move to the side, so Hayley actually finishes on 2. So Hayley won the combat by 2. So my guys are testing. All right, so just straight 2d6. I do not want anything lower than a 4. An 8, they're going to be holding their ground. Okay, so the end of British Term 1, and the main parts of the armies are still facing off. However, a bit of action over here on, well, my left. So we're going to French Turn 2. So that was a bit of a mixed bag, but not altogether terrible. So over here, the Swiss assault column has assaulted the 95th Rifles. So it's living up to its name. So we've got to roll for some closing fire there. They're defending an obstacle, so it might be tricky to dislodge them. Over here, the French attack columns have sort of swung around slightly, and the cannons moved up so they can get some fire going in there on the 32nd. Then the colonel joined the skirmishers, rallied them, removed their shaken status. So that was quite helpful. In the centre, things were a bit mixed. So the 2 units who were in assault columns continued their march against the Hanoverians. One of them succeeded, getting 3 moves off and a charge, and has barreled home into the Hanoverian lines there. So we've got some closing fire to sort out there. The other unit next to it didn't quite fare as well and didn't quite make it. I decided then to try and move these line battalions round and divert them this way. However, they failed. So I've still got 2 units in line that are just sitting here. Because they're just sitting there, I've diverted the light cavalry who have the Marauder rules. They'll be able to... Marauder means that you can always roll on your base strategy rating. So basically, they always need 8 or less to do something, even no matter how far away they are from their colonel. So they've now been diverted over there to try and slow down the British advance. And up at the top of the hill, the cuirassier combat is just gonna carry on. So we'll go and work out the closing fire, starting over here with the 95th Rifles. So the 95th Rifles are going to get 2 dice, and because it's closing fire, they're going to be +1, so they're needing 3s to hit, and they can reroll 1 miss because of the sharpshooter ability. And that's 1 hit, and you've disordered me. And yeah, you quite rightly...
I get a reroll.
You get a reroll, so you get to reroll that too.
Ah.
Ah, there you go. Well,
There you go.
so I'm saving on a 3 because I'm in an attack column. Yep, so I'm just disordered. So the Swiss are disordered for the ensuing combat. So now we'll just go over here and same again. So Hayley's going to get 3 dice for closing fire for Hanoverians, hitting on 3s against the French line battalion. Oh, disordered again. So again, I'm in an attack column, so I get a +1 bonus to my save. So 2 saves of 3. Both saved, but again, they're disordered for the upcoming combat. Okay, so French shooting. My Voltigeurs can't shoot at anyone because the 95th are engaged. I can get some shots off here with attack columns, but they're only going to fire with 1 dice, but we might as well have a go. So, first attack column is going to fire at the 32nd Highlanders, Cornwall Regiment there. It's the opposite end of the country. And they're going to be hitting on a 5 because they're disordered. Damn it. The Italians next to them are going to do exactly the same. So 1 dice, hitting on a 5. Yep, 1 hit. So that's going to be 1 save of 4 for Hayley. Yep, and that's a save. So my cannon battery is now going to fire at the 32nd. So now that they're at medium range, I get to roll 2 dice. And I'm going to be hitting on 4s. Ooh, 2 hits and they're disordered. So that's 2 saves of 6 for Hayley, because it's -2 when you're hit by artillery at medium range. No, that's 2. They're now shaken as well. That's actually all the shooting I can do, because over here these units are actually engaged, so I can't fire with my attack column there, and my artillery can't fire. So my artillery are just sitting there basically waiting to see what the results are up there. So we'll move into close combat. And I think we'll start over here with the Swiss against the 95th. Okay, so the Swiss get 6 dice. They normally get +1 bonus to hit because they charge, but they're disordered, which is -1. So that basically discounts that. So I have 6 dice hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Hayley only gets 2 dice fighting back because it's just a small rifle company. Then because they're skirmishers, they're -1 to hit. So Hayley has 2 dice hitting on 5s. 1 hit. So I need 1 save of 4. No, I've taken a casualty. 2 saves of 3 for Hayley because she's behind the wall, occupying the cover. So I've taken a casualty, so I believe that means I've lost the combat. So Hayley caused 1 casualty, giving her a result of 1. Unfortunately, skirmishing units can't receive support, but skirmishing units can add support. And as these guys are in 6 inches, they add their support to that unit, so it's 1 apiece, so it's just a flat out draw. So moving on to this combat here, so the French line infantry are going to get 6 attacks, and again they charge, so they would be +1, but now they're disordered, so they're -1, so they're going to have 6 dice hitting on 4s, and that's going to be exactly the same for the Hanoverians fighting back. 6 dice hitting on 4s. Hitting on 4s. 2 hits, and exactly the same for Hayley, hitting on 4s. 4 hits. 4 saves of 3 for the French because they're in an attack column. 1 casualty. 2 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. 1 casualty as well. So there's 1 casualty apiece, so 1 each. However, the Hanoverians are supported to the rear, and Hayley is chosen not to support with this unit here with the green flag. They're going to offer their support later on to the unit here, so you can only support 1 unit per turn. So the Hanoverians actually win 2-1, so the French have to test. So just straight 2d6. 6. I think I'm going to be giving ground. Okay, so they had to retreat 1 full move back, and as they're already disordered, they don't receive that again. So that's going to be interesting next turn, because of course now they're probably going to receive a lot of volleys of fire. So now we just need to look at the last combat, which is the ongoing battle between the Cuirassiers and the Hanoverians. But the Hanoverians won the last round, so they're going to be getting a bonus this turn. So I have 9 dice hitting on 4s. The Cuirassiers.
2.
Is that 2? Is that actually 2? That is
2.
just 2. Now, the Hanoverians get 6 dice, but because they won the last round of combat, they're hitting on 3s. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. 2 hits. 2 saves of 3 for the Cuirassiers. Another casualty. 2 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. Oh, another casualty on them. I believe they are now shaken. So, Hayley caused 1 casualty and I caused 1 casualty. So that was enough for Hayley to be shaken. However, Hayley is supported to the rear. Now, the fact that Hayley's become shaken doesn't mean she has to test it. It would actually be next turn if it's a draw. However, Hayley's actually won the combat by 1, so I'm testing again. Straight up, 2d6. Oh, bugger. Right, yeah, so they're actually gone. So yeah, the Cuirassiers, they're gone. The Hanoverians have seen them off and managed to not lose a unit, but have remained shaken. I'm a bit worried. They are still alive, which is more than I can say for those Cuirassiers. But do you know what? That's more than they've done in any game. And it's only turn 2. It is only turn 2. So, state of things after turn 2. The French left is actually looking quite strong at the moment. And then as we pan across, there's not a lot going on in the centre because Hayley hasn't managed to get those British over there moving yet. Over here, the cavalry have held them up for a while, but now the Hanoverians have been freed up this turn to, come down that ridgeline. I've just noticed I've left two bases of Cuirassiers on. So we'll go into British turn 2. Well, that went a little bit better.
Much better. I worked out what was wrong. I didn't have any wine.
Well, that's been
now
wrecked.
I've got wine. Everybody's moved.
Or maybe you just think they're moving.
Maybe it's me that's moving.
Maybe it's you that's moving.
And then
stayed still. Okay, so quite an eventful British turn here. So, over on this flank, the Scots Greys did nothing. There we go. That was the event on that side. But in the centre, there has been a lot of British movement. So this brigade has finally got its act together. The Scots have moved down to give fire. The 69th are moving in support. Over here, Hayley opted to leave the 32nd to face the music. You don't you don't believe in pulling your troops back to recover. You're now you want them to face the consequences. Sink or swim, do or die, kill or cure. However, she has moved the King's Own up to support. She's moved Wellington over so he can actually give this commander a reroll next turn if the Scots Greys do still refuse to move. Over here, the Hanoverian line has shifted down the hill, so all the line regiments are moving down as we fought to give fire, and at the back, the Hanoverian colonel joined that battalion and has removed a casualty, so they are no longer shaken. So the battlefield is almost dividing into 2. So these 2/3 are almost their own battle, and over here there's just a sort of a sub battle going on. So we will move into the French shooting. No, we won't. The British shooting. Right. So where do you want to start the shooting? Do you want to start with a rocket?
Well, I don't really want to use them at all, if I'm honest. But I'm going to do everything else first. And then the rockets, because if I shoot myself again, pretty much done for before I can do anything else.
Oh, yeah, but it'd be a laugh.
For you, we've already laughed at my rockets. You don't get twice. So we're going to leave. We may even forget their hair by the time we've moved along here. We'll see.
Oh, well, don't worry. I'll remind you. It's fine.
No,
It's
they
fine.
might just have a quick sideswipe off the table as if they were never
Let's
there.
not swipe them them off the table, please. Right, okay, so what do you want to fire with first? You're going to start with this brigade?
Yep,
Okay, are you going to give the 30-second their last hurrah?
absolutely.
Okay, so they've got to fire at the closest visible target, which is this column here. They're not within 6 inches. You're going to get 3 dice. You are shaken and disordered, but it's not cumulative, so you're going to get 3 dice hitting on 5s. Oh!
yeah.
2 saves of 3 because I'm in an attack column. Ooh, another casualty. Okay, so that was pretty successful. Who do you want to go with now?
Highlanders against the French infantry.
Oh, yeah, okay, so yeah, they're the closest target. I am going to get the bonus for being partially obscured by the cover. You've got first fire though, so that's going to be 4 dice, and you're going to be hitting on 5s. Oh dear, no hits. So are we moving on to the Hanoverians?
Yep.
So what, these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're, well, I take it they're shooting at them.
Yep.
So they're within 6 inches, so that's +1, and you're shooting at a column, which is +1. So you need 2 or more to hit on 3 dice. Okay, 2 hits. 2 saves of 3 for the French. The attack column is definitely worth it for the French.
Nice.
There we go. So the next battalion, who are they going to fire at?
They're going to go for these guys.
Okay, so we're not within 6, but you are firing at a column, so you're going to be 3 dice hitting on 3s. 1 hit. 1 save of 3 again. No, a casualty. So that's the end of the shooting, unless you want to do the rocket.
What rocket?
I think you
I
should
don't know what
do
you're
it.
talking about. What rocket?
You don't have to shoot with it.
Well, I suppose we should.
Right, what do you want to fire at? I mean, really should be, well, technically closest visible target. They're not clear target, so it would be...
These guys.
Yeah, so it'd be the cavalry. So you're hitting them on a 6. Oh! Direct hit. Direct hit. And you weren't even going to do it. Right, so first of all, these guys are disordered, and I need to make a save of 6. I'll take a casualty. Yep, so they've taken a casualty. However, these units, because they're within 3 inches of them, are also disordered on a further roll of a 6. So, Hayley, roll a dice. This unit here, disordered on a 6. No, and the other unit. No! So, I now hate rockets. Almost as much
love rockets.
Yeah, till next turn, and then they blow a hole through
I
Wellington.
love rockets.
Wellington is quite close to that rocket battery, I'm just saying. Right, well, that's the end of the British shooting, so we'll just go to the close combat, which is the 95th Rifles against the Swiss. So, 95th Rifles get 2 dice hitting on 5s.
1.
1 hit. 6 attacks coming back, also hitting on 5s.
1.
1. 1 save of 3 for the French. Yep. And then 1 save of 3 for the 95th Rifles.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, so that's a big fat draw on the casualties. However, the French are supported to the rear by skirmishers, and cavalry and skirmishers can't be supported, so the French actually win. So the 95th Rifles are testing just 2d6 straight.
That ain't good.
So they haven't got the Valiant rule. There's no re-roll. The 95th are gone in turn 2. So as the results were finished, I don't know if that got caught in the film, but Hayley just called me a very, very rude word. I can change formation as I won the combat. So I am going to form into line behind the wall. The cavalry, and it's coming into my turn, and those cavalry are looking like a very nice target. So, end of turn, British disorder comes off, and I don't know, it's quite close to call at the minute. The French have actually knocked more units off the table, so early victories to the French. However, there's a lot of disorder in the French ranks, so we'll go into French turn 3. Okay, so that was interesting. I decided that I wanted the Voltigeurs to move and occupy the woods and try and harass the British over there. That weren't happening. They didn't go down to the woods today. It definitely wasn't.
Nobody got a surprise.
So over here, because they failed, I couldn't then move on with the assault columns, and they were out of range of Boney to get the reroll. So I have moved Napoleon over at the end of the turn to try and get this corner now moving. In the centre, the Hanoverians. I charged the Hanoverians with the French, so that assault column has recharged now. You've probably noticed, I should say, that we've moved the tree. That's because when we have single trees out, they're just a bit of like window dressing. They're not actually, they don't provide cover. It's just to, just make the battlefield look a bit more interesting. Whereas when they're in a clump like that, they're actually terrain. So they've re-engaged. Over here, this unit have moved to try and give fire. The cannons have moved over to give fire. And at the back, the unit that hadn't moved yet has moved over to try and add some support. And because of the chaos that Hayley put on these guys with her rockets, with your rocket, they're now I'm just a bit stuck. So there's a bit of disorganisation in the French ranks over here, which I'm trying to sort out before Hayley takes advantage of that. So we'll move on to the French. We'll move on to the French shooting first. We'll start with the Swiss. Firing at the Scots Greys, who are within 6 inches. So I'm going to be 3 dice, and I'm going to be hitting on 3s. 3 hits. 3 saves of 4. Ooh, 2 casualties. Okay, so this attack column still gets to fire. It's going to fire at the 32nd, the shaken unit. So they are going to be hitting on a 6. So this attack column is going to fire at the 32nd. I'm disordered, which is -1. So I'm going to be hitting actually on a 5. That's a 5. 1 save of 4. No, there's another casualty. They're going to be taking a break test. The next attack column, the Italians, are going to do exactly the same thing, and they are also going to be hitting on a 5. I say 5, they're actually hitting on a 4. Nope. The 2 cannons are also going to open up on them, so that is 2 dice hitting on 4s. 1 hit. 1 hit and a save of 6. No, that's another casualty. You did say you were leaving them there to face the music. Yeah. So another casualty. I just realised we forgot to do the closing fire for the Hanoverians over here on this French line unit. So Hayley gets 3 shots hitting on 3s.
2 hits.
2 hits, and you disordered them. 2 saves of 4.
Oh,
so
nice.
Saved them both, but I'm going to be fighting disordered in the combat. Shooting, this attack column is going to fire at that unit with its 1 dice, so I'm going to be hitting on a 4. It's disordered them.
Yes.
Yep, save a 4. This line battalion is also going to fire at them, 3 shots hitting on 4s. Oh, 2 hits, they're already disordered though. 2 saves of 4. Didn't count if it's outside. He saved. All right, well, in that case, we'll use the cannons. So the cannon battery is within 24 inches, so it's going to be 2 dice, and I'm hitting on 4s. Oh, no. So, we've just got to do the break test for these guys. They're 2 casualties in excess of their stamina value, which is 3. I just put that dice there to remind me they need to take a break test. So it's going to be 2d6 minus 2. High as you can. -2 is 6. They are going to retire 1 full move. Okay, my mistake. They actually hold their ground. So the excess casualties go. They're staying exactly where they are.
Holding on.
And now we just go into close combat. Okay, so the French line battalion charge. So they get 6 dice. They get +1 for charging, but -1 for the disorder. So they are hitting on 4s. That's 3. So Hayley has 6 dice coming back, hitting on 4s. 3 hits as well. 3 saves of 3 for the French because they're in attack column. 1 casualty. 3 saves of 4. All 2 casualties. I think they're shaken now. Okay, so Hayley caused me 1 casualty and I caused her 2. I'm supported to the rear by this assault column for a total of 3. Hayley is supported to her rear by that line battalion and to her flank by that line battalion. So she has a result of 3 as well. So the combat is a draw. She only became shaken in this combat, so she doesn't have to test. So if it's a draw next turn because she was shaken at the start of the combat, then she would. So so that's the end of that. So that grind is going to carry on. So overall, quite a, well, I'd say successful, but again, I'd say it's anyone's game at the minute. Although quick total up of the points so far is the French have 5 points and the British have 2.
Early days, we're only halfway.
Okay, so big things on the British here. The Scots Greys have charged the Swiss, so we're just going to do some closing fire. So 3 dice hitting on 3s. Oh, disordered and 3 hits. Hayley, you need 3 saves of 4.
2.
1 casualty and you're disordered. You're shaken. I believe that might halt your charge. Okay, so basically because they're shaken, they've got to take a break test. So just 2d6, no modifiers. Go on, Hayley. 4 or less would be nice. Yes! I mean, that's really sad. The Scots Greys have broken.
You're broken.
So moving down the rest of the line for what Hayley did. Hayley did a disorderly retreat with the 32nd to try and sort of regain some order. The King's Own have moved up to give fire. The Highlanders charged into the flank of the French unit engaged there. I don't actually know which unit this is. Which one is this? Is the 105th? Yeah, 105th 2nd Battalion. So now they're engaged, and then she moved the South Lincolnshire unit up to fill the gap. So we've got a bit of a British firing line there, which is what they excel at. Up on here, however, though, she failed with the Hanoverians. So they're still holding that ridge line, but to be fair, I don't think it actually really wanted them to move that far, to be honest. You're still able to give fire. So we'll go into the British shooting. Where do you want to start?
We'll start here.
Yep, start with the King's Own.
Yep.
So who are they going to shoot at?
This line regiment over here.
Okay, so they've got a first fire, which is going to give you 4 dice. You're within 6 inches. You're going to have 4 dice hitting on 3s. This could be nasty.
2 hits.
2 hits. 2 saves of 4. Right, both saved.
Nice.
So, who do you want to go with now?
These guys are going to hit up the cavalry.
South Lincolnshire against the cavalry. Okay, so they haven't fired yet either, so that's going to be 4 dice hitting on 4s. Oh, you've disordered them again.
Nice, but only 1 hit.
Only 1 hit. 1 save of 4 for the chasseurs. No, it's a casualty
Definitely
and
not a
disorder. So, what do you want to fire with next?
Can do the rockets early.
And what are you going to shoot at?
These guys
Oh.
are over here because they're the closest.
Yeah, okay, so you're going for the Swiss. Okay, well, they're definitely within range, so you just need to roll a 6 to hit. Pivot. Pivot. Oh, nope, so we roll on the mishap chart. Okay, Hayley, 1d6.
Oh, this is going to go terribly. I know it.
Come on.
5.
5, okay, it veers out of control and lands somewhere else, so we need to roll that green dice again near the target and see where it goes. Okay, right, so roll that dice.
Sounds like a game show.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
it's going off. It's going off. Right, roll a
hit the
d6.
cat.
Roll a d6. He's gone. He's outside somewhere.
He is now. He's got a rocket up his ass.
6, yeah, it flies off the table over there. Goes in the living room.
The cat's gone.
The cat's gone.
10 foot up in the air.
Oh dear. Okay, so that's into rockets. So we'll move over to the Hanoverian Brigade. So what do you want to fire with over here? So we've got close combat there to do. So
yeah. So let's just go with these guys.
Yep. At them.
Obviously
Okay.
they hit the nearest.
So that's 3 dice, needing 5s to hit because they're disordered. Okay, 5s. Oh, look at that. Well done.
And a disorder.
And a disorder. And a disorder.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Check out my 5s.
3 saves of 3 because I'm in an attack column. Ah, saved them all. But you got the disorder, so I've just got another unit there that's a sitting duck, and I can't do anything with them again.
That could have gone better for me.
Okay, so time for combat. So Hayley is going to get 6 dice from the Hanoverians, and then she gets 6 dice from the Highlanders, but gets +1 because of ferocious charge. I have 6 dice in total, so I've got to decide how I'm going to split that up, and I know what I'm going to do now, which is I'm going to put 6 dice straight into the Hanoverians because I want rid of them. Okay, so Hayley's Hanoverians are hitting on 5s. 2 hits. So ferocious charge is a little bit different. It's actually Hayley gets to re-roll all her misses on the first round of combat when she charges. So it's 6 dice hitting on, because defending an obstacle, hitting on 5s, re-rolling misses. So 2 hits, you get to re-roll those 4 dice. 3 hits. I'm putting all 6 of mine into the Hanoverians, and I am hitting on 4s. Ooh, there we go. 4 hits. Okay, so I need 5 saves of 4.
Nice.
Oh, just a 1. 1
Nice.
casualty. 4 saves of 4 for Hayley. Oh, close.
saves.
Just 1. That's still good. That's still good. I have a feeling like that. Yeah, that should have gone a lot worse.
That could have gone so much worse.
That should have done. So I caused 1 casualty. Hayley caused 1 casualty. So we're even there. Hayley's supported to her rear and to her flank for 2, so for 3. I'm supported to my rear for 2. So I've actually lost the combat. So I am testing, but with no minuses. 7. I believe that's hold your ground. Okay, so that's the end of the British turn. It's a bit of a grind in the combat over here. And on this side, the French have finally freed things up a little bit. So hopefully what I'm going to be able to do here is swing round, try and get over the fact that over here nothing is moving. So we'll go into the next French turn. Okay, so that was a pretty good load of French command. So, basically over here, I thought that I would try and swing the Swiss round and just give fire down there, but they only made it over the wall. However, the Voltigeurs managed to get into the woods, and are going to be able to offer some support over there. But we are going to have loads of closing fire, because the French attack columns have just been unleashed. So this unit here charged into the King Zone, the Italians charged into the 69th. This unit is moved up to support the Italians. Over here, this French line battalion is moved up to give fire on the Hanoverians, and the artillery battery is moved over, so they're still able to fire as well. So what are you checking there?
I was just checking if I had support.
Do you have support?
Well, they're within 6 inches.
They're within 6 inches, then they're shaken. They can't offer support, unfortunately. But nice try. So we've got to sort out some closing fire. So over here, the King Zone, they're going to get to do closing fire. So it's going to be 3 dice hitting on 3s. Oh, disordered them and 3 hits. I need to do 3 saves of 3 because I'm in an attack column, and they're disordered. 3 saves of 3. Oh no, they're shaken. As Hayley's shaken them, and it's a charge, a bit like that happened with her Scots Greys. I now have to take a break test. Straight up, do not want 4 or less. No, that's it. No, they go in, but they are shaken. Same again with this unit. You get 3 shots needing 3s to hit. Just the 1 hit. 1 save of 3. Yeah, no, that's it. Unfortunately, not on that one. So, into French shooting. The Voltigeurs can't fire at that unit, the King Zone. They can fire at the recovering Cornwall unit behind. I'm not within 6 inches, so I'm not going to get that bonus. So it's just going to be 2d6, and I'm going to be hitting on 4s. I get to reroll 1 for the sharpshooter ability. So 1 hit, you need 1 save of 4. No, that's a casualty, and they'll be taking another break test. So this unit here is within 6 inches of this unit, so they're going to fire, so I get 3 dice hitting on 3s. 2 hits. 2 saves of 4 for Hayley. Where'd that one go?
Yeah. In the terrain.
Ah, unlucky.
Oh.
So just 1 casualty. So I've just checked, and there's not a big enough firing corridor for the cannons to get past my unit to then fire into those Hanoverians. They might be able to. No, at the back they don't provide a good target. So that is the end of the French shooting. So we're going to go into the hand-to-hand combat. So we've got the combat here, one in the middle, and then the big ongoing one up there. So I think we'll start down here. So Hayley needs to take a break test for the Cornwall Regiment. It's 2d6 minus 1 for the 1 excess casualty. They're staying where they are. So, close combat. We'll start with this unit here. So, I get 6 dice. I charge, which is +1, but I'm shaken and disordered, which is -1. So, I am hitting on 4s. That's not so bad. 4 hits.
4 hits.
6 dice hitting on 4s for Hayley. Wow! Well done. 5 hits. 5 saves of 3 for me. 2 casualties. 4 saves of 4 for the British.
Ooh.
1, so 3 casualties. So the French caused 3 casualties and have 3 points. They're also supported to the side by the skirmishers, meaning the French finish on 4 points. The British caused 2 casualties, and unfortunately the unit that could support them is shaken, so they lost the combat. So the British are testing the 2d6, but minus nothing. So as low as you can get. 6. I believe you're holding your ground. Okay, so the result of that combat is everyone there is shaken, so I have a feeling that next turn this is going to be loads of units routing. The Italians and the 69th. Now, these are both fresh units. So the Italians get 6 dice, hitting on 3s. All but 1.
3, 4,
5.
5.
6 dice hitting on 4s for the British. Oh dear,
terrible.
only 2. 5 saves of 4 for the British. Of a mirror. 3 casualties, they are now shaken. Right, 2 saves of 4 for the French. 3 even, because they're in an attack column. So 1 casualty. 2 saves of 3 for the French, because I'm in an attack column. 1 casualty. So Hayley lost to combat. There's no excess casualties, so Hayley's just got 2d6 straight. 7, they're holding their ground. So for the large combat, obviously we've got the Hanoverians fighting on and the Highlanders. So I'm going to put 3 dice into the Highlanders and 3 dice into the Hanoverians. So I'm going to have to work that out separately. So first 3 dice for the Hanoverians, and they are hitting on 4s. Oh, nice. 3 hits on the Hanoverians. And then for the Highlanders, 1 hit on the Highlanders. 6 dice fighting back, hitting on 5s for the Hanoverians. 2 hits. And 6 dice hitting on 5s because of the obstacle for the Highlanders, but because of the tough fighters rule, you'll get to re-roll 1 dice. Okay, so that's 1 hit. You can re-roll 1 dice. 1 hit. So the French need 2 saves of 3 overall because of the attack column. 1 casualty. Okay, so the Hanoverians took 3 hits, so they need 3 saves of 4. 1 casualty, and the Highlanders also need 1 save of 4. Well done. Okay, so there's all sorts of supports going on. Hayley's done 1 casualty in that entire combat, so 1, but she's supported to the rear and to the side for a total of 3. I've done 1 casualty, but I'm also supported in the rear 45 degree there and also on the side there. So it's a draw, but because Hayley was already shaken at the start of the combat, the Hanoverians are testing, and because she's in excess of her stamina value by 1, it's 2d6 minus 1. Okay, 2d6 minus 1. Sorry, that's it.
terrible.
Yeah, no, they're gone. Okay, so because this unit of Hanoverians and this unit of Hanoverians were supporting, they also have to take break tests with no modifiers because they've just seen their guys run off. So Hayley's going to have to take 2 more. So this could be, if she fails those 2 tests, then that whole Hanoverian brigade is pretty much done. Okay, so for the first unit, you just want as high as you can get on 2d6. Yep, they're not going anywhere. And the second unit. Okay, so they're staying. Okay, so that's the end of the French turn. Over here, the flank's been freed up a little bit, but the combat will continue between the not the Hanoverians, the Highlanders, and the French. In the centre, combats are going to be grinding on, so the next couple of turns are probably going to be decided by close combat. So we'll just go into the British turn 4. Okay, so there wasn't a great deal of movement because everybody's locked in close combat. But what Hayley has done over here is charge the Hanoverians into this line infantry unit here, so they'll get some closing fire. And then she also rejoined the combat here with the other unit. Other than just moving some of her commanders around, that was about it. So we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 close combats. So we'll just sort out the closing fire. I get 3d6 hitting on 3s.
Nice.
3 hits. 3 saves of 4. 1 save, 2 casualties. I believe they are now shaken. As they've been shaken on the charge, they now need to take a break test. So 2d6, no modifiers. No, they're absolutely fine. The combat will fight. So we've got 4 close combats to sort out after shooting. So I think the only shooting that you can do is actually with your rocket. So you're going to go for the Swiss again. Well, they're the closest target. Okay, so you just get 1d6, needing a 6 to hit. Oh no.
Look at that.
Okay, so they are disordered and I need a save of 6 to not take a casualty. So 1 casualty and disordered. Okay, so close combats. Just want to go down the line?
Yeah, we'll go down the line.
Yeah, okay, so starting here. Oh man, everyone's shaking here. So we both get 6 dice. We're both at -1 because we're both shaken. So we're both going to be hitting on 5s. Okay, hitting on 5s to the French. 1 hit. Hitting on 5s to the British. 2. 2 saves of 3 for the French. 1 casualty. 1 save of 4 for the British. 1 casualty as well. So we did 1 casualty apiece. I'm supported by the skirmishers in the woods. Hayley is now supported by the unit at the back because in the orders phase she managed to rally a casualty off of that. So it's a draw. Because we were both shaken at the start of the combat, that both means that we are testing 2d6 -1. As high as you can. -1 is 7. You hold your ground.
Seven
6.
well.
So -1 is a 6. So they retire. So they're going back. Okay, so because that unit is shaken, it can't do any follow-up moves. So we'll go on to this combat. So the Italians get 6 dice, and they are hitting on 4s. 2 hits. The British unit is shaken, so they are hitting on 5s. 6 dice, needing 5s to hit. 1 hit. 1 save of 3 for the French. No, 1 casualty on the French. 2 saves of 4 for the British.
No.
Oh no dear. So I did 2 casualties, plus I'm supported for a total of 3. Hayley has done 1 casualty, that's it. So she's lost to combat, so she's testing 2d6 -2 for the 2 excess casualties. 2d6 -2. Oh dear, that's a 3. They're out of there. I can now consolidate on that, so I'm going to choose to change formation into line. Okay, so for this large ongoing combat, we'll start with the Hanoverians because they charged. So they get 6 dice and they are hitting on 3s. 5 hits. Okay, so the Highlanders are going to get 6 dice, hitting on 5s, re-rolling 1 miss. Ooh, 3 hits so far. 4 hits. Oh dear. I'm going to put all 6 of my attacks into the Hanoverians because I really don't like them. So I am hitting on 4s. 4 hits. Okay, so Hayley's done a total of 9 hits on me, so I need 9 saves of 3. I'm in an attack column.
Ooh.
Oh,
All
every single one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's been a long time coming. That has.
Done.
Ah, fantastic. 4 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians.
I don't get all my saves here. There's something wrong with the universe.
3 casualties there, now shaken. So Hayley lost to combat. I'm also supported to the rear, did 3 casualties, that's 4. No casualties in return. So Hayley, you're taking a break test, just 2d6 straight. Or 5, that's going to be retiring. Okay, so they've retired back there, and now we are on to the final combat of the turn. So I get 6 dice hitting on 4s. Just 2 hits. Hayley charged, but now she is shaken from the closing fire, so she gets 6 dice also hitting on 4s. That's much better. 5 hits. 5 saves of 4 for the French. 2, so 3 casualties. 2 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. Oh, 2 casualties on them. Okay, so Hayley did 3 casualties, plus she's supported to the rear, so that is for a result of 4. I have done 2 casualties, I'm supported to the rear for a result of 3. So Hayley's won the combat, so I am testing just evens. And they're staying. Okay, so the end of the British turn, and I think the centre has more or less fallen to the French, but over on here, this side, the Hanoverians are still holding out.
On.
So we're going to go into French turn 5. Okay, so there wasn't a great deal that I could do with my movement. I've decided to keep the Italians where they are, and I'm just going to try and pour fire over there, because all I've got to do is put 1 casualty on those units to make them test. I've left these guys here to support. I've left these guys to support. So the only thing I've done is charge with the chasseurs at that fleeing unit of Hanoverians back there. So they get to do closing fire. Actually, no, sorry. They've got to, not closing fire. They have to test to form square. Although they are shaken. 1 second. So the unit is going to need a 7 or less to form the square because they're shaken, so they're at -1. We're using the rules from the Clash of Eagles book for squares instead of the ones that are in the main rule book, whereby they've just got to pass a standard order test. So 7 or less on 2d6 and that unit forms square. 2d6 -1, so 7. They form square successfully. Okay, so the Hanoverians have successfully formed a square. The chasseurs have no movement left to go anywhere else. So we'll just go into French shooting, of which there is only a little bit here in the middle. So the Italians are going to fire directly at the King Zone. The King Zone are within 6 inches, so the Italians get 3 dice, needing 3s to hit. That's a disorder and 2 hits. 2 saves of 2 for the British. It's both saved, but still disordered. 2 saves of 4 for the British. Both saved, but still disordered. The Voltigeurs that are in the woods are going to fire on them, so they're also within 6 inches. So it's 2d6, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1 miss. Ooh. Both hit. 2 saves of 4 for the British. 1 casualty, so they are taking a break test. That's the end of the only shooting, so they need to take a break test. So it's 2d6 -1 for the 1 excess casualty, and another -1 for disorder. So 2d6 -2. That's not that's it. No, the King's Own have left the field. So now they've been seen off, we're just going to the close combat. So we will sort out the Highlanders against the French here. So I get 6 dice, and I am hitting on 4s. That's 2 hits. Hayley has 6 dice coming back, and she gets to re-roll 1 of those if they miss, so needing 4s to hit. 1, 2, 3, and you get to re-roll 1. 4 hits. 4 saves of 3 for the French. Oh no, that's 3 casualties. 2 saves of 4 for the British. 1 casualty. Okay, so I did 1 casualty, Hayley did 3. I'm supported to the rear for 1. That means that Hayley, though, still won by 1 point. I have 1 excess casualty, so I'm testing 2d6 minus 1. They're staying where they are. That combat just rolls on. Okay, so over here, where it continues. So Hayley won the last round of combat, so she gets +1 to hit. However, she is shaken, so she gets 6 dice hitting on 4s. 1, 2, 3 hits. I have 6 dice hitting on 5s. Just the 1. Okay, so 3 saves of 4 for the French. Oh, 2 casualties. 1 save of 4 for the British. Oh, nice. Okay, so that's going to be a loss for the French, I think. Okay, so Hayley scored 2 points to me of the casualties, and she's supported to the rear for 1, so that's a result of 3. I did no casualties and supported to the rear, so I'm going to be testing. I've got 2 excess casualties, so I'm 2d6 minus 2. 5, they're retiring. Okay, so that's the end of French turn 5, and again, not a great deal has happened in the middle.
Though.
No, it's not looking good for the British, is it?
What was your latest count?
I think my latest count is that the French are currently on 14 points and the British are on 4 or 5. So I think that the French pretty much have it. We've just got to play it out. So we will see what happens in the British turn. Okay, so the British movement, not a great deal. The recovered Cornwall regiment has moved forward to give fire on the Italians. They were going to charge, didn't quite get enough movement to do it. And over here, the retired Hanoverian unit has moved back and left a fresh unit to give some fire. So, bit of shooting, but this might be the British last hurrah. And we're only in turn 5.
Not very
My good, but we shall see what happens. So, into shooting. What do you want to fire with first, Hayley? Do you want to go with the rocket, or are you going to go with the regiment down here? Okay, so they're 6 inches away. They're so that's +1, so you're going to get 3 dice, needing 3s to hit. Ooh, 3 hits. 3 saves of 4 for the French. 1 casualty. So, what do you want to shoot with next? These guys at them?
Yep.
Okay, so they're firing at a column, which is +1, so you're going to get 3 dice hitting on 3s. 1 hit. 1 save of 3 for the French.
Nice.
There we go. So the only thing left on your side is
The reliable rocket.
the reliable rocket. So who's it going to shoot at? I suppose it has to be the Swiss again over here, won't it? Okay, so you just need 1 dice, needing a 6 to hit. No, right. So that's on the mishap table, so roll a d6.
Oh, that's bad.
Hang on a second. Okay, so you need to roll another d6.
I don't think I want to. What do I need to get?
4 or 6.
2 a day.
2. The rocket explodes prematurely and inflicts 1 hit on the rocket team itself. So you need to make a save of 6. No, I think that might be a break test for them. Hang on. Okay, so the rocket battery is shaken and disordered because that's gone off in the face. So that's the end of the British shooting. So it just comes down to this ongoing combat here between the Highlanders and this very, very plucky French battalion. So the Highlanders get 6 dice hitting on 5s because of the obstacle, but they get to re-roll 1 because of the tough fighters rule. That's 3 hits so far. You can re-roll 1. 3 hits. Fighting back with 6 dice, hitting on 5s. 2 hits. 3 saves of 3 for the French because they're in an attack column.
Nice.
All saved. 2 saves of 4 for the British. Oh dear, snake eyes. 2 casualties. The British take 2 casualties. The French are supported. The British have lost that one, so they're going to be testing -1 for being having 1 excess casualty. So 2d6 -1. Oh, they hold their ground. Okay, so that's the end of the British turn, and it's just an ongoing slog, really, now, isn't it? Just to sort of like consolidate.
My men are here just for the French now.
Just for the French to play with. So we'll just go into the French final turn. Okay, so I've decided to leave the Italians in place to just give fire on the Cornwall regiment. I've moved this unit up to support the ongoing combat here, try and tip the balance a little bit. Over here, my attack column assaulted the Hanoverians, so they're going to get to do closing fire, and I moved this unit up to support. So Hayley, you get 3d6 for closing fire, hitting on freeze. Two saves of 3.
Nice.
That's it. Right, into the rest of the French shooting. So the Italians are going to fire. They're within 6 inches, so they're +1, so they get 3 shots, hitting on freeze. 2 hits. 2 saves of 4 for the British.
Nice.
Oh, well done. Okay, so there's no other shooting, so it's just on to close combat. So we'll just go down into the one that's just been grinding on now for half the battle. So the French are fighter shaken, and they're fighting back on their flank. So they've got 6 dice, and they're hitting on 5s. 2 hits. The Highlanders are striking back. They have 6 dice, hitting on 6s because of the obstacle, and they're shaken, but they get to re-roll 1.
Ooh,
2, and you can re-roll 1. 3.
Still 2.
Oh, 2. 2 saves of 3 for the French. 1, so 1 more casualty. 2 saves of 4 for the Highlanders. 1, so 1 apiece. So Hayley did 1 casualty to me, and I did 1 casualty to her. However, I am supported this time to my rear, which means that I am actually the winner. So Hayley is rolling 2d6 minus 1 for her break test. 5 minus 1 is 4.
Yeah.
The Highlanders have finally broken.
Fight.
They've gone. So the Highlanders are gone. So we just move on to this last combat here. The final French attack column is hit home against the Hanoverians. So it gets 6 dice. It charged. So 6 dice hitting on freeze. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 6 dice hitting on 4s coming back. 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. 4 saves of 3 for the French.
Ooh.
That's 2, so 2 casualties. 4 saves of 4 for the British. That's 2 casualties as well. So we've both done 2 sets of casualties. However, I'm supported to my rear, which gives me 3. Hayley would be supported to her rear, but a shaken unit cannot support. So I win the combat by 1. Hayley's already got 2 casualties on that unit, plus the 2 she's just taken, means that she is at -1 to the roll. So 2d6 minus 1. 7, so they hold their ground. Okay, so the end of the French turn, and pretty much everything is, well, we're just trying to consolidate on what the French have. I don't want to count my chickens too soon, but I'm fairly confident. But then it has all gone wrong before. So we'll just go into the British final turn, and then we'll roll a dice at the end to see if it goes into turn 7. Just realised there's probably not a lot of point in doing the command facing, really, because Hayley only has a couple of things that she can actually do. So she's not moving anything. Everything's either in combat or shaken and can't do anything. So Hayley, what do you want to shoot with?
These guys.
Okay, so you're going to get 3 dice. You're at 6-inch range, so you're going to be hitting on freeze. Okay, hitting on freeze. 2 hits, 2 saves of 4. 1 casualty, still not enough to cause a break test. The only thing I think that's left that can shoot is your shaken rocket.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay then, alright. So it's going to fire at Swiss again, I assume,
Yeah.
so it's the closest target. You're hitting on a 6. No,
Definitely
so
not.
you're rolling with d6 again.
3.
That's a 3. I believe that's just a dud. Right, so looking at it, it's just possibly the last combat of the game. So you have 6 dice for these Hanoverians, and you're shaken, so you've got 6 dice hitting on 5s. 1 hit. I won the last round of combat, so I've got 6 dice hitting on 3s. 1, 2. 1 save of 3 for the French. Saved. 2 saves of 4 for the Hanoverians. No, 1, and I think that's going to be enough. So yeah, the French cause 1 casualty and they're supported for a result of 2. The Hanoverians cause no casualties and have no supports or anyone who can support. So they lost to combat. They have 1 excess casualty, so it's 2d6 minus 1 on the break test.
Oh, not bad.
Oh no, they hold their ground, but that's the last combat of the turn. So Hayley, I think we should roll and see if this goes into another turn. So 1, 2, 3. It's that's the end of the game. 4, 5, 6. Then it's going into another turn. That's it. That's the end of the game. Now I think we are just going to total up the points and then we'll come back to you. Right. So we've totaled it up. So the British finished on a very, very respectable 4 points. And the French finished on a rather, how should we say, crushing 17. So 17 points to the French and 4 points to the British. But so yeah, I think we can say that was a complete French victory.
And then Martin woke up.
And then I woke up. Yeah. I got to be honest. I think the thing that possibly was a big swinger for this was the fact that the heavy cavalry charged home in the first turn and took out one of your cannon batteries, because that kind
Definitely, I think the first push, you had a good start off the mark. Much
It did.
better than start than I did this time. So
Well, we wanted to do a different kind of game and show you guys like a pitch battle rather than just having objectives. It is fun to play the objective-based games where you've got buildings or you're trying to escort things, but sometimes these games can be a bit more tactical, and also you can get a few more models on the board when you're doing this kind of game. Anyway, so there we go. So I think that narrows the gap. You've won 5 and I've won 2. Woohoo! I'm slowly bringing it back. Slowly bringing it back. Well, I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. You watched it. We said we'd do another one, and we try to do them when we can. There will be another one and some other games in the future as and when we can do them. In the meantime, we hope you're all staying safe. And I hope everybody is well. It's 1 a.m. So we're going to go to bed. Well, I think Hayley's going to go to bed, and I, as the winner, get to pack up. So anyway,
you get to pack up because it's all your stuff.
It's all my stuff. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we hope you guys are all well. Stay safe, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.